name is Brian Kakini. A little bit about myself. I oversee the planning and development arm of the Papua New Guinea University of Technology. And I am indeed grateful and honored to be with all of us here this afternoon. This afternoon I will be speaking particularly on how ICT is being used in Papua New Guinea to increase learning among children. Basically, this is a outline of my presentation. I'll be giving us just a brief backdrop on Papua New Guinea context, just so that we understand the developmental challenge that we have as a nation, and also a little bit on ICT literacy in Papua New Guinea, the national ICT policy that we've recently launched, and also the vision and mission of that policy, and the high-level objectives within that policy, and also the strategies that the government has set in place to realize those policies. I have done a small case study in Morobe province. Morobe is one of the 20 provinces in Papua New Guinea. And it is where the University of Technology is at, as well as the Adoc Center. Yes, and on how ICT development has increased learning among children in Morobe province. I'm particularly focusing on Morobe province because Papua New Guinea is a big place, and it's really hard to go around. The challenges that are involved in ICT learning. I'll also be just giving just a few slides on Adoc and its operation and how it intends to help government realize its ICT policy. Some of you may be asking, where in the world is Papua New Guinea? So I thought it best to include this slide. Papua New Guinea is just north of Australia. We share the same landmass with Indonesia. And moving on the side is our flag. The bird of paradise is our national symbol. A little bit about Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea is located in Southeast Asia, eastern part of the island of New Guinea. History, geography, Papua New Guinea is 85% covered with mountain and rainforest. The terrain or the landscape in Papua New Guinea is really, really rugged. And that's why for planners, engineers, it's a real challenge for us to bring basic service to the people. And that also includes bringing IT services as well. Papua New Guinea, we are a democratic nation, Westminster system. A population of about 6.7 million and a growth rate of 2.7%. Land area of 462,840 square kilometers. The climate, basically tropical, hot, wet. The inlands pretty much remain cold all throughout the year. Culturally, Papua New Guinea is very, very diverse. We have more than 800 languages, meaning that sometimes you have a very good strategy, but you've got to tell people what your strategies are. And if you have a country that speaks more than 800 languages, then it's really, really hard for you to, get them to think along the line that you're thinking. So you can see the challenges that we have. Out of the 6.7 million total population of Papua New Guinea, about 50% are literate. That's about 3,350,000, I think. Are literate, and 30% of the literate population are actually completely literate. And most of them are young people. Papua New Guinea is a very young nation, meaning that most of our population range between the ages of 19 and 32, 34. About 10% of the entire population know how to use the internet. That's about probably 670,000, which is a very, very small number compared to my other fellow colleagues. ICT development in Papua New Guinea is at its initial stage. The problem is basically it's a compounded effect of, I can pretty much say, negligence from the government's point of view. Not that the government wasn't very proactive in bringing about service, but Papua New Guinea got its independence in 1975, and we didn't realize the importance of ITC until very later in the years. And also a lack of ICT training and education. Poor electricity. Electricity is a major problem in Papua New Guinea. Water shortage. So all those challenges, they come into play. A little bit on the PNG National ICT Policy. Papua New Guinea realized the importance of ICT after independence, 2 years after independence in 1978, and the process of putting together a coherent national ICT policy came into place. In November of 1992, a structured national policy was adopted by the government. And then our government decided to put in place what was called an ICT task force in 2005. And with the principal terms of reference of making sure, or in other words, getting collective views from different regions and seeing how best we can put together a policy that works within our region. And something that engineers and developmental planners can actually action it rather than just a document. The vision of the national ICT policy, and I'm happy to say that it's word for word in line with Adoc's vision. It's bridging the digital divide. That's the vision statement for the Papua New Guinea National ICT policy. Translated from that vision is our mission statement, bringing about realistic, significant, beneficial change to the people of Papua New Guinea through efficient use of ICT with services supplied in the competitive market. I'll just give you just the basic, the main 5 main principles contained in our national ICT policy. I thought it best to give a backdrop from the nation's perspective so that when I zero down on my case study, you will appreciate the whole presentation. Principle objective number 1 is to secure socio-economic, and I can also include political benefit of an efficient ICT sector, primarily focusing on these 4 areas: education and health, agriculture and e-commerce, national security and justice, government and administration. Objective number 2, efficient ICT infrastructure as a backbone for ICT policy. And we all know that investment in ICT requires a lot of capital investment, and infrastructure is indeed critical if we are to have a workable ICT policy. Principal objective number 3, increase access to basic telecommunication services across Papua New Guinea at an affordable price. That's one thing that a lot of Papua New Guineans are not able to afford computers for the start. Connectivity to the internet is, the average Papua New Guinean can't afford it. So as much as possible, we're trying to, the government is trying to put in place something that the average Papua New Guinean can be able to have access to. Principal objective number 4, transformation and efficient telecom company. Telecom company is Papua New Guinea's telecommunication company that pretty much have the license to all ISP providers and all other IT companies that are doing business in Papua New Guinea. That's also for mobile licensing as well. Principal objective number 5, effective and sustainable competition built upon a clear, achievable ICT policy with appropriate regulatory functions and powers. We all know that it's very important for us to have a good regulatory body when we're talking ICT, with efficient and transparent regulatory process guided by a strong legal framework. Now, I just talked about the major objectives. This is basically the strategy in which, I thought it best to include this, the strategy in which the government wants to realize those policy, and how Adoc fits into all of this in helping the government. Effective and sustainable communication. Open competition in all sectors will be supported by a new licensing regime. This will be fully effected within the liberalization of the international gateway. Now let me just spend a minute here to explain that. Papua New Guinea, in a small economy like Papua New Guinea, the government, which is the principal custodian, more or less provides all the basic services. And about 4 years ago, the government of Papua New Guinea decided that there are certain aspects of the market that should be liberalized, open up for competition. One of them was the telecommunication sector. 3 years ago, we opened up the mobile sector. We allowed 2 different mobile companies to come in. And previously, it used to be only Telecom, which was Papua New Guinea's own telecommunications company. But when I'm not sure whether we have Digicel here, but there's a company called Digicel. It's a Jamaican company that's now based in Papua New Guinea. After they came in, and when you have a lot of competition in the market, you know that it brings benefit to the consumers. People are now able to do things like call their relatives back at home where there is no landline connection. People are now able to check their last 3 transactions in the bank, transfer funds from one account to another using mobile phones, even paying your power bills using mobile phones. So these are the kind of changes that we are seeing as we open up the market for other players in ICT to come in Papua New Guinea. And that's really helping the local communities as well as other people in Papua New Guinea. Institutional restructure in ICT sector. Currently, Papua New Guinea has pretty much 3 organizations, government statutory bodies that oversees functions of ICT in Papua New Guinea. There's the Department of Information and Communication. Then we have what we call the ICCC, and also PENCAL. PENCAL it oversees the regulatory function of all ICT operations in the country, and it's also a licensing body. But in the new policy, our government now is putting together everything, and we're calling it NICTA, as a National Information and Communication Technology Authority, that will not only oversee regulatory functions, but also will also accommodate telecom,